Welcome to the Lavender Table, a web-based talk show for and about the LGBT community. And now, let's keep the conversation going with your host, Gary Elgin.
Let's talk about the old days. Let's talk about when we were younger.
That was a while ago.
Just a few days.
Yeah.
East Tennessee and Knoxville in the 90s when we met.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what it was like.
Oh, I went to Zephyr's. That's where I started more seeing you and hanging out with you more.
Crystal Wonders.
I heard about Crystal Wonders.
Oh,
because
so you had not...
No, I had no idea. I was
Okay.
looking for something. I was looking for someone. I met Lenny Robertson.
Yeah.
And that was just the best thing ever. And then Crystal Wonders, and I said, where are the gay bars in Knoxville? We have one, it's over there by the Long Branch. And it's a little dive. Great place. Well, that and the Carousel.
Right.
2 bars. And I moved up from a town that was gay on every other corner.
Right.
No, that's it? I said, how about a bookstore? Coffee shop. Okay, where's your university?
Yeah.
So go to the university, and there really wasn't a whole lot going on with Lambda
At that time. Yeah. The
Now the Lady Vol games.
well, and
I know I'm not supposed to say that.
what? Everybody enjoys some sports.
Yes.
Let's talk about the lesbian community, because it's all well and good to kind of dance around the LGBT community, but
Right.
we do that too much, and we don't focus enough attention, I believe, on the specific groups.
I would agree totally.
Talk to us about, first, the journey of the lesbian community in this area.
I think it's the same in a lot of communities. It's very cliquish, and the professional women, your teachers and lawyers and dentists and doctors and that so-called profession, is more likely to only hang around with their friends, and takes a while to get in. You know, say, hey, you know so and so, you know,
Yeah.
Try to find a place to go, and there wasn't. But I got really lucky, and I met a bunch of really good people, and they're like, well, let's just start our own little friends. And you know, we started all just hanging around, lived in a great place, we would go sledding and go playing and have fun. And
Right.
it was different than having a gay community, because there really wasn't a gay community. I don't think there's too much of a gay community. I don't think that you can say, there's 30 of us, let's all get together and have a place where we can play cards, you know, whatever, play games, have drinks, have cooking, have all kinds of stuff, a community center type room that isn't a faith-based, because there are some things that go along with the faith-based that maybe doesn't involve everyone.
Right.
And the bars, most people I know, they don't want to be around cigarettes.
Right. And there are some people who are in recovery.
Yes.
And that just doesn't appeal, nor
should it.
Or nor should it, nor
Well,
does
not
it.
should.
They have a low tolerance even.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There should be.
Yeah.
But the other part that's, well, and that brings us to today, because what's different today? I think there has been a shift.
There has.
And in my opinion, it's because we have done the work.
Yes.
We have, through every person that's come out, through every person that's gone to a city council meeting, gone to a county commission meeting, taken action, we have made it a safer place for everyone to interact, so that now Knoxville, there's not very many places where we are not welcome.
That is so true. and so happy to say how true it is. I think that now, and a lot of it I think has to do with our mayor. Madeline has done everything in her power to make us a unified city.
Yes.
A city where, everybody gets along. And it's kind of like if we can take some of the rules away and
Sure.
just be, everything kind of goes a little easier, and to have everybody walk on the same side of the sidewalk.
Right. Right.
You know?
But with all due respect to the great things Madeline has done in her first term,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she could have even been elected had we not laid the groundwork. And
there
your
was a
thank
huge
and the,
gay following and a gay push from people working to get Madeline elected.
Sure.
And to try to get the kind of the conservative side of the city to just open the door. Just open the door.
Yeah.
That's it. Let us in. Because I know you've tried ever since I've known you. You have worked with every mayor, and I think Randy was probably one of the few that.
actually, I came to town, I think, during Victor Ashe's days, and I didn't have much political context at that point. James Talent did most of our political liaison.
James was, he was
Yeah.
real big.
But my first contact in civic government was Mayor Haslam.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
which-
you weren't around when Mr. Ashe tried to make it impossible for us to be gay?
Well, I was here. We just didn't. We didn't have a lot of contact.
Yeah.
But it was. I have always found, and as you noticed at Pride Fest this year,
Mhm.
we had as our guest for the lavender table in our contingent, we had the state representative Gloria Johnson,
Yes.
who's very supportive and such a sweet woman, and effective, I think, public
Yes.
servant.
Yes.
That's always been important to me.
Yes.
Bringing politics and activism together, because I do believe they're separate.
Oh, they are totally separate.
I don't believe they
They are
oftentimes
totally
mix
separate.
well.
And
I
they
know.
don't mix well.
I don't
it's like
think
water and
It's
oil.
not a matter of you can't. You're not going to always mix well.
Right.
It doesn't mean you stop trying.
I always had a great relationship with him. He would come into the restaurant. In fact, when he was running against Madeline, I had, Madeline for mayor signs in the restaurant, and I was supporting her 100%. And he came in and he goes, "Oh, what is it about me?" We get along. We do events together and all this. I said, "Oh, I love you as a human being." I said, "But I want a progressive mayor, and I want sidewalks."
Yeah. Talk to us about that, because that was. It's been something in East Tennessee that's been lacking up until Mayor Haslam,
Mm-hmm.
the progressive Republican.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican who wasn't afraid to say, well, that's not such a bad idea.
Right.
We have a couple of others that are coming up in the ranks.
I think the Republican Party on a whole is realizing, the same as the Democrat Party and Independent, we all have to change. We all have to say, you know what? These rules, they don't work anymore. These ideas, they're not true.
But how much of that is reality? It's their light bulb going off, and how much? And I ask this.
How much
because,
is the vote? Maybe.
Because seriously, I heard this right after the election,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, oh sure, you're going to try that, and
Well,
you're probably going to get some votes.
They will get votes. Anyone who says, I'm going to support the gay issues, I want to support gay marriage, I want to support this, I want to make sure that kids are learning in school, they don't have to kill themselves.
Right.
Let's have education. And people are realizing in the Republican Party that we're just not the same America anymore. We're a whole bunch of people of a whole bunch of color.
What about
As you.
What about the Tea Party, though?
Well, that's a little extreme.
It is,
You know,
but
it's a
but it
little
also
extreme.
came out of two libertarians.
It came out of non-satisfaction with how people kind of interpreted the way they wanted the political agenda to go. And there's so much that we never know about because we don't really read as a society anymore.
No.
We have instant news
Yeah.
and sound bites and little things that say that so and so said this, and a quote that somebody has made. Then you don't know for sure that somebody has said it, but the news, where when you and I were younger and we would read magazines that we would thrive to get our hands on because we wanted to read the news. Who was voting for what?
Right.
You know, and those are the people we elect in. People who are going to say, you know what, we're going to be a kinder world, and we are a kinder world.
You bring up a very good point, because I will talk to some younger folks, and I'll mention a politician's name, or I'll mention a celebrity's name, or just anyone's name that they've heard a soundbite on, and they start parroting a soundbite, you know, that came off of Fox or Entertainment Tonight,
And how many TV stations are there now? 500?
Yeah. But they get the soundbite.
They get the same thing. Every station does the same, except they add their twist to it.
Yeah, their spin, right? But they wind up getting the soundbite wrong, and then creating an opinion based on that. Or Facebook.
Well,
a lot of times we get on Facebook satire.
Yeah.
Or we get someone just prodding. So they'll give misinformation. All of a sudden, that misinformation is fact.
Yeah.
And it becomes a urban myth. It becomes...
That's a very sad way to have the future of our civic part of the world.
Talk to me about voting. Talk to me about what your experience has been with voting, what you believe goes on right now with voting, and where we're going.
For me personally, voting day is one of the biggest days. I am very ceremonial about my voting. I always kind of get up early in the morning to the vote.
To the vote.
And have a nice cup of tea or coffee, and get the newspaper out and look at what everybody's doing, even though I already know who I'm voting for. But I take it and I look at some things, get a few key points, because usually I will have things on and I'll get asked to take them off.
Yes.
You know.
But you go up
And
specifically to the polls with the accoutrement.
yes, because I want somebody to ask me why. You know, and if they ask me why, and they can talk to me for 3 minutes, I'm not danger.
Gosh, it's kind of like why I wear purple and lavender.
Absolutely. The more people will talk,
Yes.
then the
Yes.
better it is. And
Yeah.
there's a young man, Jackie's son, Conrad.
Oh yes. Yes.
Okay. I know that.
Season 1 or 2 of the Lavender Table.
Oh. And it's like, this young man goes out and is like the Pied Piper.
Yes.
And let's have young kids follow him.
Right.
And the young kids seem to be doing that. The younger.
And Conrad was at the time, for those of you who don't remember or know, Conrad at 15 was bullied in Tyson Park for holding the hand of his then boyfriend. He turned that into action.
Yes, he did.
Launched a protest, and hundreds of us showed up in Crutch Park and held hands, gay, straight, bi, trans, you name it.
Everyone.
And we marched. And Conrad did that, you know, essentially alone, but with the help and support of his church, his family, and a lot of other people. You and I believe, were both there.
Yeah.
And But there are those who, well, and also Conrad has become not only an LGBT activist, but a gender activist.
Yes.
He is a powerhouse.
Yes.
I've been proud of him ever since I first heard about him and met him.
There's those people in our community, in the Knoxville community, that stand out like that to
Yeah.
me. They are Debra.
Yes.
You know,
Talk to us about Debra. 'Cause
remote one.
She won't come to the show. She won't be interviewed by me.
Debra Cummings is probably one of the smartest and funniest and intelligent,
Not to mention intense.
oh, very intense woman that I know. And when I met her, it was like, I'm home.
Yeah.
Because the people who I knew in Florida were like Debra. They would like, okay, don't say this if you don't have your facts straight.
Right.
No,
Right.
and read this. Deborah's house is a library.
Yeah.
And she has been an activist for Knoxville ever since I've known her. Yeah,
She was deeply involved in the National Organization of Women
Yes.
here in Knoxville.
Mhm.
Please, Debra, come let me
Debra.
interview you. We've been friends for almost as long as Terry and I, if not longer, because you were friends with Zephyr. You need to sit down at the lavender table.
Deborah would have a lot to say, and people, when she was on the cover of Metro Pulse, I mean, we have it hanging in the house. So it was so cool. It was like, here is this powerful lesbian in her overalls with her braid that's this long,
Yes.
and her John Lennon glasses on the cover of Metro Pulse. It was like, okay, everybody,
Yeah.
this is the way we're going to be. This
Well,
is
we're not
what
whispering anymore.
Right. No, we're not. We're not whispering. We're not. We were at what restaurant? We went out to eat. I forget where we went. Sunspot.
Yeah, there you go.
And two young men came in, and they were beautiful, just smiles. They came in holding hands, and they sat down on the same side of the table.
Yes.
And we were sitting in the table next to them, and we would smile back and forth, and everyone who came over there was just like this and so happy, because the more we come out and we don't hide, the less other people think that they have reason to hide.
I'm so glad you said that. You know, I have been kind of screaming this from the corners of this gay street and Walnut
time.
for a long time, yes. And it really is, once I heard the good news of coming out, I really did share it with as many people as I could.
Yeah.
Dr. Rob Eichberg, with his book Coming Out in Active Love, really made the impression on me. And after that, I had to tell everybody, this is, how we're going to make the difference. But as you know, it's individual.
Yes. Some of us we're all born with our own unique gift to the world.
Yes.
We are so lucky you were born purple. And not in the literal sense. Well, maybe, but
You never know.
You were born as a person who, no matter what somebody says to you, you're going to hold in your truth. You're going to hold in your spirit of, I am who I am. And the more of us that get out and say, I am who I am, no matter what the situation.
Right.